Pensioners' hardship worsens as state of backlogs of gratuities. And the riders Kano, Ekiti, Enugu, Benue pensioners hard hit, stateside cash crunch. Wow, that's hard to hear. Pensioners threatening to sue Southwest governors over consequential adjustment. Page 2, that's what the story is this morning. I think we should talk about this.
The pensioner story, Jacob. You were not here yesterday. Because anybody were talking about pensioners who went to Ogun State, who locked the SSG of Ogun State out.
Yeah.
Because there was a huge backlog. Some of them says they have not been paid their pensions for many years. And when Governor Abiodun arrived as governor in 2019, that was the promise he made to them. I will clear the backlog, 68 billion cleared. But he hasn't been able to keep that commitment because, again, there must be a cash crunch. You remember most of the states, initially, they had to depend on the federal government budget support to even pay salaries. So most of them are not looking at pensions. They are not able to pay. In Benue State, one of the states listed as was hit in that story. They haven't paid state pensioners for 34 months. They haven't paid local government pensioners for 72 months. That means Governor Samuel Otom is not in the business of paying pensions. So, 34 months and 74 months, 72 months is probably all the period he has spent in office as governor.
Yes,
and he's
exactly.
the second-term governor. So you can imagine he's not in that business. If you check the stories, Ekiti State, where they have Governor Kayode Fayemi, looks like a progressive, he's owning mountains and mountains of pensions. Some of the states are not even paying the contributory pension scheme that most of them have adopted now because they don't want to pay pensions in future. So they've all agreed to do the contributory pension that is the vogue in the private sector especially. But they're not contributing, they're not remitting, and they're taking these monies from the workers.
Salaries.
It's just a grand scheme that is corrupt. Because if you take my money and don't put your own, you are shortchanging me.
A rotten grand scheme.
Yeah, so just go through the states. It's the same thing. Delta State, my own Delta State. The pensioners there, the Nigerian Union of Pension, Delta State chapter, say they have already reported Governor Ifeanyi Okowa to God. They have taken him to
that's worse.
To God's court because he doesn't bother to pay pension at all, and they can't even remember how much pension they are being owed. When the secretary of the NUP for the state was asked in this interview by the Punch, he said, "We cannot remember. I've taken him to God." Because some of the governors haven't bothered to pay one pension since they became governors. For Ogun State especially, I keep saying this because I remember Ogun State governor very much used that as a campaign tool. He said he was going to set aside a large amount of money to keep clearing the debt. But he hasn't been able to do that. It's the SSG was saying that day they picketed at his office that the state government puts aside 500 million naira every quarter to settle the backlog. But they have a 68 billion naira backlog. So the 500 million a quarter can't do justice. Because of course the pensions keep piling up. If you go to a state like Kano, it's the same thing. Most of the governors you see as progressive state governors, they come out and they mount progressive governor. I pay salary, I do this. Even Rivers State governor, in fact, the other day Governor Wike, they carry placard for him pensioners in the state. They're not being paid. The governors look at it and think that I don't think I need to carry this liability of pensions. And anyway, it's pension, so we'll leave it for the next government that's coming.
But they will collect theirs. When they
lavish pension, that lavish pension, it's the only state that is paying pensions Lagos. Of all 36 states in the country, the only one that probably doesn't have backlog is Lagos. The others are managing to pay maybe 6 months, pay 2 months, like that. But these states listed in this report, Kano, Benue, Osun, Delta, Ogun, Kwara, Osun, they're not paying at all. So their backlogs is running years back, and these pensioners keep dying. The story of I think this is Kwara State. They said that in the last month, in August alone, 45 pensioners died. Yes, they died. They died while waiting for their pension. Osun State, yes, they said 45 pensioners died in August alone.
Is it not in their budget?
Most of the governors don't have plans. Forget budgets, my friend. Kola. You know what these governors do? They write a budget. They say, remember Cross River State governor?
Yes.
He used to give his budget fancy names. But he never looks at the document. As soon as the House of Assembly passes that budget, he begins to implement the budget in his mind and in his heart. Nobody looks at it. So their budget is 10%, 15%. At the end of the day, that's what they do. They don't really care. Of course, the budget is just a document. It's a plan to fund your activities for the year. They never get enough funds to do that. So they have to go cap in hand all the time to beg the federal government. There's nothing the federal government hasn't done for states. Budget support, remember, They give them, they share the Paris.
It's more like a bailout.
Yes,
sort of
it's more,
thing.
yeah, they get bailouts and bailouts. They don't pay back. Remember the other time they were heckling the CBN governor and the finance minister not to begin to deduct these loans from their allocations. You know, I don't know how that has panned out, but most of the states are not viable. The governors run a system, you know, that's lavish for them, but they don't make the other commitments. Another problem is the structural nature of this state. Indeed, some of these states they're not worthy of being a state, you know. So, but they're trying to be a state. So you can see that no matter how much they have, they can't solve their problems. They have a very large workforce, which is political in nature, if you ask me, because you cannot sack. If you sack one, they're waiting for your elections. So the governors don't even have interest. They just keep managing a civil servant that is very unproductive. They do not tell me what the civil service in Gombe will be doing. Gombe State probably have a civil servant of 5,000, more than 5,000 workers. They do not. They just go to work at 9 o'clock. They close at 11. Once they ring the bell like this for lunchtime, that's the end of the day.
And they earn their salary.
Yes, they understand. I remember when I was serving Sokoto, on Fridays is no work day, and I want that full Friday, there's no work.
Fridays,
you know,
Friday.
In the local government, when you used to go and do that, they used to go and sign every Thursday. If you go there, I don't find anyone. And sometimes some of us have come just because of this clearance. So and
you get there and like
there's nobody. You know, they don't come to work. Only payday, and they pay them on the table. That year they used to pay salaries on the table there, so on salary days, which probably on the Monday, they line the cash on the table. And the big man cash officer called him and count your money for you. There's no counting machine, tedious starts.
There's no bank transfer.
That's why you know that in fact you don't need all of this. They don't do anything. They're just workers compensate. Why don't just take the money to their homes and give them? So across the states, most of the states you see here, this is it. So the governor just look at it and say they're not doing it, we owe them to death. You know, and that's what's going on, really. That's why you see it's only states like Lagos that manages to pay salaries and pay pension because they probably have an active service. And in truth, it's not that active because I've gone to Alausa before.
Did you enjoy this video? Hit the subscribe button for more, leave a comment and like. Thank you.